Today I fucked up by not realizing the cute gym employee thinks I'm a trans woman. Where to start? Ever since the COVID lockdown happened I have been letting my hair grow out. At first it was because all the barber shops were closed, but then even after I got my hands on a hair clipper it became more amusing to see how far I could take this. COVID had put a stop to my dating life, so I wasn't trying to clean up for anyone. So after a year of letting my hair grow out it is now shoulder length. Another side effect of COVID is my weight. I used to go to the gym regularly but stopped once the gyms were closed due to COVID. I have never been the type to run on the streets, so my weight gained the COVID 25 akin to the proverbial freshman 15. I have a pretty skinny frame to begin with, so what that means is that all the fat went to my stomach and my now man boobs. There is just one last piece of information before I can start. I am the type of Asian that has trouble growing facial hair. So now we can begin. As most of you know, we are reaching the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of COVID. Most states are relaxing their lockdown restrictions and my gym finally reopened last week. Eager to get back into shape, I went on the first day of the reopening. I do my thing on the machines and maybe pushed myself a little too hard, or perhaps I am just that out of shape because I was a complete mess by the end of my workout. I make my way toward the men's room, but this cute gym employee who was sanitizing the water fountain in between the men's and women's room intercepted me. She said, "You can use that one," pointing to the women's room, and in my exhausted and muscle already starting to ache state, I only thought perhaps there was something wrong with the men's room and that they closed it off. So I go in the women's room. It was empty because the gym just reopened, and I take care of business. When I come out, she said, "I think what you're doing is brave," and I for some reason thought she meant going to the gym again and said thanks. It wasn't until I got to my car that the light bulb in my head finally turned on. She must think I'm a trans woman. The long hair, man boobs and no facial hair. Now it wouldn't be so bad if that was the only interaction I have with her, but the next day she came over as I was running on the treadmill to introduce herself. And because I have been going to the gym almost every day, since I'm serious about getting back into shape, she and I have developed a sort of friendship. Just today she asked how long I have been transitioning and I said since COVID. I don't know how long I can keep this up for. This is the cheapest gym in my area, so I don't want to switch. Too long, didn't read, gained long hair and moobs during COVID. Gym finally reopened and cute employee thinks I'm a trans woman. This reads like a George-centered Seinfeld episode written for 2021. You can totally fix this by explaining that you thought transitioning meant getting back into shape. Has she not asked for your name? Or do you happen to have a gender-neutral sounding name? Just call me Pat. So my name is not Rachel, but for some reason my esthetician thought it was, and I was too awkward to correct her. After a year of seeing her once a month and responding to Rachel, she told me she was moving to Texas. TIFU, I can find someone new and use my real name. My mom also went to see her and forgot about the Rachel fiasco and said how Shannon and I are really going to miss you. I got lucky she was moving, op has to become a woman now, woman shrugging. Yo, tell her the truth, say you didn't want to out her in a weird position and that you were kinda embarrassed, and stop using the women's locker before it gets out of hand. I know I should, but the thought of telling her makes me cringe already. Today I fucked up by messing around and discovering a classmate is pregnant. For context, I am a med student into my second year of med school. Today we had a urine lab, and for the vote of confidence, my professor decided it would be much appropriate for everyone to bring their own urine. So everyone had their urine in front of them in the container, and we were doing several tests, making slides, microscope, testing for glucose, RBCs etc. So on the central table, so after doing all my tests and recording them in my journal, I thought it would be fun to mess around. There was a pack of pregnancy strips. I don't know why the hell these things were there in the first place. So I thought literally nothing and picked up the strips and started reading the leaflet. In the meantime everyone was done and they saw me. I don't know why we all had the same idea and all 15 students picked up a strip and mindlessly dipped it in the urine container. As expected, nearly all of them tested negative, all but one. I cannot describe the horror on that girl's face. like it was really horrified. She just without thinking took another strip and tested again, still positive. She ran out of the lab rather very visibly upset. Me and the other classmates were really awkwardly staring at each other and trying to understand what happened in this turn of events. Too long didn't read, had a routine urine lab in med school, started messing around after getting work done, everyone took a pregnancy test and one turned out positive. I am reminded of a story about science teachers no longer offering to do familial blood typing. Guess what? You aren't your dad's kid. For the same reason, when I went to curriculum night at my kid's middle school, the 8th grade science teacher told the parents, if your child is adopted and doesn't know, tell them because they will find out in science class this year. And then the guy whose strip tested positive decided to go have himself checked out for testicular cancer. Next year there will be no pregnancy strips in the lab. Let's see what happens. Every year is a new story! Exclamation mark. Reminds me of a girl I know training for being an ultrasound tech. They obviously practice on each other. Partner practicing on her is like, that's a baby. That's how she found out she was pregnant. This reminds me of the story my sister told me. She was training to do sonography. They were on the pregnant unit. Had a pregnant lady come in. Professor stopped and moved on to the next subject. The pregnant lady was a classmate's friend. Turns out the baby died. Missed miscarriage is a particularly awful version of the end of pregnancy. Your body doesn't tell you. Your doctor has to. Edit, condolences and good thoughts to all those of us who've been through this. You won't forget, but you will get through it eventually. Today I fucked up by telling a female colleague to spread her legs. Currently sitting on the toilet playing chess because I don't want to show my face until it loses 3 shades of red. Was going through some project details with one of the engineers before she left to go to a job site. We wrap up, she gets up to leave, and I attempt to say go spread your wings. But right as the word go comes out of my mouth, my brain decides now would be a terrific time to switch things up and say go stretch your legs. And before I knew it I was having an out-of-body experience watching myself tell her to go spread your legs. I will never forget the look on her face. I immediately told her what the hell my brain just did for that combination of words to come out of my mouth as she is on her way to a work site full of men. And thankfully she believed me, seemingly, and laughed it off. Doesn't make it any less embarrassing unfortunately. Too long didn't read, told a woman I work with to spread her legs by combining 2 innocent phrases. I used to work retail and combined would you like a hand and need some help, and it came out to a customer as hi, need some hand? I wanted to say to a customer if you need anything don't hesitate to ask, but also if you need anything just ask, so naturally if you need anything don't ask is what came out. Oops. Did this with no problem and you are welcome. Customer said thank you for your help and I said your problem lol. Once at work I was in a meeting with a male co-worker and he said to me I'm just freeballing here mixing up freestyling and spitballing. I've heard a guy mix have you lost your mind and have you gone nuts while talking to his sister. Turned out to be have you lost your nuts lol. Had a friend at work do something similar years ago. She tried to simultaneously say I'll do anything to move up in the company, I'll suck up to anyone to move up in the company. What came out of her mouth was I'll suck anything to move up in the company. I've never seen someone turn red so fast. A promotion's a promotion, man. One time a guy was bagging up my snacks at the gas station and I meant to say thanks bro, but it came out thanks boo, and he just looked at me like wait, did you just say what I think you did? And I just went with it and smiled, collected my bag, and walked out. Haha. Go big or go home.